Hello, my name is Steve Thompson. My wife Carol and I have been here on the field for 37 years, and God has blessed us to be able to serve and to see how His mighty works continue to progress as He calls out other leaders to serve alongside of us. We are church planters and church developers. During our years, we've begun a ministry out in the jungles of Ecuador, out on the eastern side, heading out toward Peru, working a lot along the Napo River. When we came into Ecuador, we heard about the story of Nate Saint and how the missionaries that were killed in 1956 really affected worldwide the call to missions. Back in the 1950s, there was an awareness that there was a group of people located out on the edge of the jungle that we know today as the Waodani. But at that time, there was an unknown entity because that group had never been contacted by the outside world. There were rumors of an existing tribe that was rather almost Stone Age in their appearance and Stone Age in their tool usage, but they had never been actually contacted by the outside world. When Nate Saint and several others of that particular group of people were hearing about that, they began to seek out how to reach that group of people. And at that time, they were known as the Aucas. Now, Aucas was never their name. Actually, Aucas would be sort of like a worthless person, someone who has no value at all. And so a worthless savage is what they were called. Now, after they got in and after we have been able to see the progress of the gospel coming in and working with that group of people, we now know that their name is Waodani. As the Waodani is a group of people that still have lots of problems. They still deal with a lot of things that are cultural, and they still have what's called revenge killing. And that happens over the last years. The last major killing happened here in 2017, but just recently this past month, we've had an event where there was a killing that took place, and we're very concerned on how that's going to affect our being able to get into those communities. Those 5 missionary families that were working with the Waodani tribes, they were moving out and going into an unknown area. Today, the area is known. Many of those families have come to know Christ, of those Waodani families that were first reached by the missionaries. But there are many, many thousands of Waodani that have never heard the gospel. Back in 1996, my mission partner, Jorge Rodriguez, and I began a ministry going downriver. And as we would go downriver, we would travel, and when I use the word canoe, we actually have canoes that are hewn out of large tree trunks. They're 50 feet long, have a 40-foot outboard motor on them, and we are able to travel down and walk into communities. At first, our ministry from 1996 all the way to 2006 involved mainly with the Quechua work and being able to reach Quechua speakers living along the river, the Napo River. But back in 2006, 2007, we became in contact with a community called Cacataro. Cacataro is a village of the Waodani. And God has blessed and called out many into His service, and we have had pastors and leaders coming out of that community. During the years, we've seen the expansion of the work to be able to reach now where we have 5 Baptist churches working in 5 distinct communities, and we have outreach into 2 new communities where we're continuing to spread the gospel among the Waodani. From the year 96 all the way to the present, we have seen a growth where now we have about 35 total Baptist churches along the river, including the Waodani work, and we call people in to do training of pastors and leaders, and that's why we have our camp, which is called UNPES Camp. And the UNPES Camp is a place where we have the School of Missions to train pastors and leaders that have limited educational backgrounds, but we're able to share the gospel with them and also share with them how to rightly proclaim the gospel of Jesus Christ. I ask you to pray for the ministry and pray for the advance of the gospel and the next generation of leadership that's going to have to go further down the Napo River. We've gone about as far as we physically can go down in a period of hours, of talking about 8 to 12 hours of travel. And so we're going to have other people that are going to take this vision that God has given to expand the gospel further into the jungles of Ecuador. Pray with us.